Hello and welcome. Today we'll be looking at what if Chris Hani was still alive. Born Martin Tembisile Hani on the 28th of June 1942 in the Eastern Cape. He was assassinated on the 10th of April 1993 in Boksburg in what is now called Ekurhuleni municipality by a Polish migrant called Janusz Walus. They always say history is a way of repeating itself. So the only way to see how the future could have been, we will have to look at Chris Hani's brief history. Chris Hani was a thorn to the sides of apartheid regime. The apartheid regime even attacked the flat that Chris Hani used to stay in and killed the locals. He never minced words when talking about the apartheid regime and its brutality. In 1969, he was suspended by the ANC after the what is now called the Hani Memorandum. The memorandum includes, among others, the ANC is completely out of touch with the people, careerism and opportunistic tendencies within the ANC, using the ANC to do business and make money, corruption and nepotism, materialism, perks and cars, challenges in the intelligence services, inability to sever links with Israel, failure in an efficient cadre deployment system, ANC Youth League. He had reservations about amnesty. He said, when we came back to South Africa, we were forced to sign documents and detail what we did before then. He said, for amnesty to be considered, everyone who needs amnesty must come clean. As a soldier who spent all of his adult life in the MK, he was annoyed when the ANC suspended the armed struggle in 1991. As a disciplined member of the organization, he was ready to subject his own view for a collective view. It was said that most female MK operatives adored Chris Hani for protecting women's rights. Now, let's focus more on the future Chris Hani. Chris Hani was very popular in the early 90s. For example, he was voted number 1 in the ANC NEC list in 1991. After Joe Slovo stepped down in 1992 as the General Secretary of the SACP, Chris Hani was elected as the new General Secretary of the SACP. Hani campaigned for the SACP in townships around South Africa, seeking to redefine its place as a national political party, especially to young youth who had no experience of pre-apartheid era South Africa and had no commitment to the democratic deals of the more moderate Mandela. The SSCP was at one point doing well than the ANC, especially to more radical townships, self-defense groups that have parted from the authority of the ANC. With SSCP so popular under Hani, the question is, was the SSCP going to contest the elections on its own, or was it going to campaign under one banner with the ANC and campaign for the ANC and influence the ANC from within? ANC SSCP alliance did hit a new low immediately after the 1994 elections, as the ANC did not threaten the existence of capitalism in South Africa and heavily reliant on foreign investment and tourism. It is more likely that Hani's SACP will have contested elections on its own and afterwards form a coalition government with the ANC. Looking at Hani's popularity, the SACP could have been a huge threat to the ANC majority, which means the ANC could have been well below 50% majority. Then the SACP will have more influence on the policy direction of South Africa. It is also possible that the ANC and the SACP could have contested the elections under one banner, which was the ANC. However, the split would have been inevitable immediately after the elections because Hani was so popular, so we wouldn't need to ride on the ANC popularity. So let's explore possible scenarios post-1994. SACP contest elections and win with just 50.1%. SACP have a great influence in the South African economy. Hani is the president of South Africa. Looking at history, education will be one of his first priorities. It is more likely that the land could have been expropriated without compensation. Also, big South African companies will have been expropriated without compensation. That will have led to the demise of South African economy. It will be very different to today's economy. Initially, there will be no other way out. The economy will have to first collapse and then maybe be rebuilt afterwards. South Africa wouldn't have cordial relationship with the West. Far-right groups will probably be targeted. Communism will probably be taught in schools. This cabinet will have had a fair share of women. For example, the likes of Mama Winnie Mandela. Maybe you could have succeeded with rebuilding the economy, because wherever communism is practiced well, things can go well for the poor. For example, Venezuela before Maduro. There probably will be no EFF as we know it today, because it wouldn't have been necessary. However, great leaders always listen to the majority of their people, and they are always flexible. And Chris Hani was one of those leaders who were disciplined. He could have softened his stance on communism. For example, it was confirmed after Tata Mandela's passing that Mandela was indeed part or member of the SACP. He did sit in the SACP Command Council. So Mandela was a communist who softened up. The other scenario of Chris Hani's SACP contesting elections under one banner with the ANC. Then the split immediately after the election was inevitable, since the ANC-SACP alliance did hit a new low by then. The other scenario will be the ANC have won the elections with around 56.4 majority. Then the SACP will have gone and sit on the opposition benches. The last scenario is both SACP and ANC have below 50%. Then they will have to form a coalition government with a lot of compromises. And it could also have failed, which could have led to a rerun. After all, if Chris Hani was still alive, whether he was in the ANC or in the SACP, whether the alliance was still functional or not, he will be giving ANC headaches. I hope I was not biased in any way. Please comment below and tell me, what do you think if Chris Hani was still alive? Please subscribe for more brainstorming subjects.